Then let's look at some type of IP address that we have also talked about the power of TCP and IP on our last video. Now let's talk about the type of IP address we have. Now we have public IP address and we have private IP address. Now when you look at this place, I would say types of IP address. Public IP address is also called an external or global IP address. It is used to communicate between hosts. Which is host? What is host? Each computing device, laptop, phones, printer, server, routers, all these things that can help you to connect to internet or be on a network, all of them are referred to be what? A host, because they will be given an IP address. So the public IP address is also called external or global IP address. It's used to communicate between host devices and the global internet. The public IP address are provided by who? ISP. So what he's trying to say here, and what the point we are trying to make here is that as soon as you have your PC, you have your phone, if you have your tab, or even your smart TV, that you also want to connect internet, then you need to call for what? Public IP. So public IP in another sense might likely be that you have paid, maybe you have buy your data, you have paid, as soon as you buy a data or subscribe for a data, you have paid for that public IP address. So the ISP will be the one to give you those IP address automatically from wherever you are, because you have, maybe they have their SIM or you have their computing device that have configured to be able to get access to those, maybe that one of their server that they have configured to have DHCP working in it, which will give you that IP address. So here the public IP address will enable you to browse to internet. So without public IP address, it can never be browsed to nothing will give you access to public to internet. So that's why the public IP address is important, and we also pay for it before we'll be able to use it. Because if you look at the sentence here, he said also called external or global IP address. So it's a type of IP address that will also give us that leverage for us to browse around the globe. Now what was the second one, which is the private IP address? So private IP address is also often called a local or internal IP address. It's assigned to a device within a private network. So private IP addresses are not routed on the internet and are intended to work only within your local network. So what is he trying to say? Remember, when we also setting up a LAN, all the computing device also that is on a LAN, they are also use private IP address. So this private IP address, what it does is that enable all the computing devices that is also in a company for them to communicate, even your PC, for all to communicate to each other. But we cannot gain their access to browse internet because the private IP addresses have not been given access, and they are also bound not to do not to route to internet. So it's for local usage. So within a private network, so we can also communicate to other PC, but we cannot gain access to gain access to browse to internet. So this is what the private IP address is. Remember that we said the public IP address in another sense give us that access for us to do browse internet, meaning that if you have maybe you have a computing device which is Wi-Fi, so Wi-Fi might likely get the internet access maybe from one SpectraNet, maybe, or depending on the type of computing device you are using. So each of the company that you are using their devices will give you the render services due based on the payments you made for them, for you to be able to gain access to internet. But when it comes to private IP address, we are not paying for it. It is also generated and also given to a computing device that's what's within a local area network or within a company or within a campus. They can talk to each other, but they cannot have access to do browse to internet. So these are the two type of IP addresses we have. So thank you for watching. So keep on subscribing.